2,500 runners.
I know I'm just a recurring character in this show, but you might not be able to figure out, maybe you do. I always doubt myself and I always sell myself short. And that trend is, I guess, continuing in 2024.
I was nowhere near my PR pace. I kind of felt I wasn't going to be able to do that coming into this morning. I was still going to come out and do my best, but I knew deep down that it probably wasn't going to be a PR.
Realistically or unrealistically, I always want to go into a race thinking I can have a PR, but this season I feel like I'm actually really there.
It's always fun to race local. We live 10 minutes away, so I mean, it'd be silly not to do this race, and even better do it with Tiff and Colin. Just adds to it. All in all, good time.
Mile 1 was cool because I've never started that far up at the front because we seated ourselves by pace and I just kept on walking and I'm like, I'm getting dangerously close to real athletes. Still don't feel like one myself.
I always look forward to doing this race whenever it works out into our schedule to be able to do it. It's one of those runs that it'll definitely challenge you, and it's a good test kind of early season before all of the big stuff happens, all the triathlon really gets going.
Considering 10K is not what we train for, we're training for, 13 miles. So to be able to run this pace for so long, I'm still really satisfied with that.
This year is a little bit different. We haven't done really any racing. We've done a lot of training, a lot of just grinding out, working behind the scenes, doing all the sessions that, they might not be heroic sessions, they might not be all-star workouts, they might not be PR numbers in every single workout that we do, and that was intentional in order to put us in a position to have a successful season. So to be able to come out and to do an actual race, it's a lot different than training.
I had a pretty crappy off season because a week after Indian Wells, my company went out of business and I lost my job. A week after that, I got COVID. So I spent Christmas at home with Katie alone. And then I spent January and February looking for a job. Finally found one, but it was like not a relaxing time at all. And it's nice that it's now spring. I'm at a race again. I'm running healthy again. To me, what I'm thinking about more is how much the last few months really sucked. Like, it was hard to stay with the triathlon training, lots of red boxes and training peaks, trying to balance everything, and I'm glad to be back running again.
Since December of 2023, we've been playing the long game, the long, consistent game of just building up slowly, and this was the first race of the year. Really wasn't quite sure what the body was going to do. It responded how I would want it to, and excited to get the first race under the belt.
When you're training, you don't have the other people around you, you don't have the adrenaline, you don't have this time is going to count and it's going to be seen and it's going to be on record. And that, I think, gives you an extra boost when race day comes, so you really get all you can out of yourself on race day when it matters, and that's really what I was trying to do. That was my goal.
Hardest part of the race, mile 5. Because the 5K people and the 10K people all came together and I was bumping into people. There was one guy who just decided to stop and take a look around and I just bounced right into him. So, it wasn't, an ideal race in that sense.
They cannot add any more people to this run. It was quite congested. For the most part, the 10K runners had their own course, but once we merged with almost 2 full miles to go, we were having to jump curbs, kind of going around paths, kind of dodging in and out. Up until that point, I felt like I was running pretty good. Really happy with my performance, and I kept pushing through. I did give it my all. My effort was totally there.
I felt really good while I was suffering as well. I was hurting the entire way, and I told myself to not give in if it's uncomfortable, to just push through it because you've done the training and you can perform when it matters, and it was really more between the ears and putting that together that my body would know how to respond and know what to do. There were some short, steep hills, and there were some long, not terribly steep hills, but some long burners that would really get the legs working and quads working. So that was my mindset. Once we merged with the 5K, it was really just find a line that I could run as cleanly as possible. And I told myself those last 2 miles, let's see what you got. Let's have the fastest 2 miles that you can to finish, all things considered. And I think I did. I think I was right around 8:20 pace for each of the last 2 miles. Made that turn and saw the finish line ahead of me. And I know last year the course was 0.1 short of 6.2 miles or the full 10K. And I didn't quite know if it was going to be short again this year, but I just told myself, just get to the finish line, just dig deep, whatever you got. All in all, I think just believing in myself and trusting what I've done to get to this point, and more importantly today, pushing through even when it was a struggle, even when it was tough, even when the legs were burning, when the lungs were burning, when the questions creep in, why am I doing this? I still kept doing it, and I still kept pushing forward. Could have easily slowed down. I could have easily walked the aid stations, but I didn't, so I'm really happy with that. Another thing I'm happy with is that, it tells me that I know this training plan, I know this process, I know the steps that I've been taking to get to this point are what is right for me. And it's a confidence boost in that realm, and I know when triathlon season happens, I'll have this behind me, this confidence boost with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it takes me.
Going into today, my fastest 10K was 46 minutes and change, and today was 41 minutes and change. So that's awesome. Embedded within the 6.0 whatever miles I ran, I think I have my fastest 5K. So coming out of an off season of stress and frustration and COVID and unemployment checks, this went way better than I ever could have hoped. The next episode I drop into, maybe I'll come out and say I expect a PR and I don't get one. Just for a change of pace, we need a new storyline. It can't just be Colin sets a PR after doubting himself. That storyline is tired.